be naive. Let's not lose our talent. Canada's main competitive advantage has been our skilled workforce, and we are losing it due to COVID-19. Let's also acknowledge that aerospace exists in a fierce, globally competitive marketplace, and once our jobs leave, they don't come back. So on behalf of our industry, we urge all of you to continue the tradition, stand by us, grow this sector for the future, and protect its legacy and its jobs.
From within our domestic borders. Beyond manufacturing, the importance of space to Canada's national security, economic prosperity, and place in the world cannot be understated. Space also has the ability to inspire the next generation to pursue science, technology, and engineering math studies in their education. MDA plays an important role as a prime contractor for Canadian government flagship space programs, an anchor company in Canada's space innovation ecosystem, creating, developing, and building solutions in Canada, exporting these solutions globally, and reinvesting in future Canadian innovation and intellectual.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I'd like to thank the witnesses for being with us today. I'd just like to follow up on some of the questions that were asked and ask Mr. Mueller. In terms of your comments earlier, you had mentioned your association had proposed the 2020 vision document, and you said you have yet to hear for 4 years. I mean, I just want to see if that's correct. I mean, I'm looking at the document and it talks about 6 priorities for prosperity, and it seems like all of those initiatives still apply today. I mean, increase for workforce, ensure small and medium enterprises have access. The new technologies, green propulsion. I mean, even talking about procurement ideas. And so I'm wondering, is that still the case? I mean, from your input, I mean, and what should the core elements of a support program be today if they're changed from the 2025 document?
Well, thank you very much for the question. And the Vision 2025 document is still very much relevant today. And I would even say more relevant today, considering everything that's been going on. But maybe if I could just go back to the touch on a comment I made in my opening remarks about the commitment of past parliaments to our industry, because I think that's instructive to your question too. And support for the aerospace industry is absolutely longstanding, such as the 1959 Defense Industry Productivity Program, replaced by the Technology Partnerships Canada Program in 1996, and then by the Strategic Aerospace and Defense Initiative in 2007. And these were all aerospace-specific programs, and these were all replaced by a sector-agnostic program in the Strategic Innovation Fund in 2017. And the real concern for the industry was when aerospace was shut out of the Supercluster Initiative in the past few years. And as I said before, as aerospace is a globally competitive industry and other countries are doubling down on supports, we need the government to do the same here. And we need the government to send that signal that Canada supports and views its aerospace industry as strategic. And that needs to come through, again, a sector strategy. And I think the Vision 2025 document lays that roadmap down very well. And also programming that is not sector agnostic. When we look internationally, if you look at the competitiveness, the number one competitive advantage we have is our skilled workforce, and 100% that is absolutely true. And we have the real danger now of losing some of that competitive advantage. But at the bottom of that scale is the support and the signal that the government is sending. So we're very much looking in the next budget upcoming, to send a signal that Canada views aerospace as strategic and also important.
Well, thank you. I'd like to follow.
Merci beaucoup. Puis pour revenir à cette question de la main-d'œuvre qualifiée.
In your Vision 2025 document, you talk about it, inspire, recruit, train, and hire 50,000 students from Canadian universities, colleges, and vocational schools. I mean, I've got 3 aerospace firms in my riding alone: Genair, Vliet Aerospace, and Airbus Helicopters. And when you talk to them, the notion of bringing in young, talented people to begin that process of retention, learning, and skilled workforce, so that when people do retire and leave the sector, that they're able to continue. So, I mean, to your point, what is needed from that standpoint? I mean, maybe even Mr. Chartrand can offer some insights as well on that.
Well, maybe just high level, and then I'll turn it over to Mr. Chartrand, but absolutely correct. And what's missing from our perspective is that long-term strategy, that industry-specific supports. We have companies right now that are moving workforces around, looking to where different packages would come, and we're losing that skilled talent. And you're right, that ability for the older generation to download the information to the newer generation, the bottom line is they need things to work on, and that's where we need government support.
Mr. Chartrand?
I agree with Mike on that. I mean, right now, the issue that we're facing is before this pandemic, our industry had problems and we had massive labor shortages. Through this pandemic right now, what's happening is, personally, our union has about approximately 10,000 members on layoff, furlough, or not at work currently. I know that there are, several thousands of workers right now that are out of work. Many of them are recycling themselves and going into other industries. And the more senior employees, to give space to the younger ones, are retiring. By doing that, though, there's no transmission of information, of knowledge, et cetera. So I think it's real important to support training. It's real important to support these employers to keep these older workers at work, to train the new generation of workers and all that. So I think there's something to be said on that side.
All right, Madam Chair, I'm not sure how much time. Well, I just see the red card, so I know that means my time is up.